Everything is great. Everything is grand. You got the whole wide world in the palm of your hand. Life's a happy song when pro starters by your side to sing along. Hey, everybody. Hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. Hello to those watching live on Twitch. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to join us live for this show every Friday night, or Saturday night. I apologize. Don't tune in Friday. Then you would be watching a different show. Every Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the live show. Today we are playing episode 4 of Unrestful Hearts, The Garden of Glory. Let's go around to the cast and crew and figure out who we are and who we are playing. My name's Grant Ellis. I am the king of shenanigans as far as this show is concerned. I'm given the title of Game Master, but really I'm sort of the unreliable narrator who's kind of a guide on the side, who every now and then jumps in as a non-player character and helps steer the game. Let's go around and figure out who everybody else is too, because I surely do not know these people. Hi, Pro. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, stranger. How are you?
All right. Are you ready to work out today?
Yeah, Peanut, yes.
I downed like 2 Red Bulls before we went live. I'm sorry.
It's completely fine. Hey, I'm Pro Restarter. I am playing Chev Daniel the Eagle, and I am also known as the Fawned Knight. I'm super happy to be here.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. Rejoining us as well, the outspoken brash lion, Chev Orphelia E. Truffery. How are you doing?
Hi, I am doing quite well. Hi, my name's Em, and I'll be playing Chev Orphelia the Lion, our poor sweet cinnamon roll. We'll see how long that lasts. She's definitely not recovering from being terribly wounded last session. It's fine.
No, yeah. A year has passed since then, though, so we'll see how she's grown from the experience. Also joining us, Poiso, how you doing?
I am doing quite well. I am playing Chev Antimony. We don't know right now whether they are a dragon or not. Still,
I know. There's the antimony papers that have been circulating. Houseless Knights and other strangeness. It looks as though we'll see if Joe comes alive again. In the meanwhile,
no.
Jess, Burst of Hope, good to see you.
Hello, good to be here. I'm excited. I was just telling them off stream how I missed everyone, and I'm so happy. I'm curious to see what unfolds. I'm Burst of Hope. Jess, find me on Twitter. That's about it. Yay! I play Sir Catalina de Wolf. That's me. Le Captain.
And the Raven still hides in the shadow. Our Raven Knight, Joe, shall be here shortly. While we wait for her to come back. Let's talk about our sponsors before we get started. Fantasy Grounds is our virtual tabletop of choice. All the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are using Fantasy Grounds, surely, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of Dungeons & Dragons, Warhammer, and 40k minis for 20% off. This week, check out our new sponsor, Dice Envy, who have an amazing subscription service where you can get cool dice every month starting at $5. You have access to limited run dice delivered to your door. Join us at diceenvy.com. Make sure that you support us tonight by smashing that retweet as it pops up, and make sure that you check out our sponsors, and if we could have our engineer do that. And now, returning to us at the tone of the tide, the Raven herself. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Hello. Had a little difficulty getting here. Apparently. The frame rate was a problem. Yes, I am Little Cup of Joe. I will be playing Cetriste the Raven, who is the knight with no house. We shall see what happens.
Where the knights have no house. That was a song in the early 90s. Had to have been there. So, as always with Unrestful Hearts, for those of you that are new to this system, it is a homebrewed system that I designed where part of the game is a narrative game, the second half is an adventure game. It's all about making messy entanglements and interpersonal relationships, as well as participating in the events and stories of legend. Sometimes it's fun to play characters that other people talk about thousands of years later. There's many different translated versions of their story. No one can quite agree on what the true canon was, but we as players have an opportunity to create that on our own. So as with every session, we begin with the pull of a tarot card, which you unfortunately cannot see on your screen. However, we're in the works working with the engineers so that I can make sure that we have a system to do that. So the dramatic event that's going to shake up the kingdom tonight is the Three of Cups. And we'll talk a little bit about this means. So each game begins with a tarot card, which signifies a dramatic event that's going to occur out there in the world. And the suits of the tarot deck are tied to different houses. This one is tied to House Lion. We happen to have a lion playing with us tonight. Hello, Chev Ophelia. And now we will divine exactly what this means. So it means celebration, community, and friendship. This is the perfect card for tonight's game. All knights, even knights that have no house, Raven knights, knights of smaller houses, knights of foreign lands, knights that have moved on to other things, emeritus knights, the knights emeritus, some go on to become scholars, etc. All knights have been brought to Capital for a large celebration and parade. It's unlike anything that has ever been seen. Each knight in each house is asked to march in the various parades, and to essentially they are appreciated by the community. This is one of the largest events that happened in the Land Royal, and this is a special time to both be a knight as well as to be a citizen of the Land Royal. For those of you at home that want to know where that information comes from, we actually make it all up while we play. We had no idea that there was this celebration of all knights before we played, but now that we played a tarot card and we have divined what it means and we've tied it back, now it's specifically important to the House Lion, because House Lion are the knights of the royal line. So I'm going to ask Chev Ophelia a question. I'd like you to describe to me, in the Antillier's absence, the Antillier being her Star of the Skies, Marcy Vallon, who is off exploring yonder, who does House Lion appoint to rule in her stead?
Well, blood is very important to House Lion, I believe. And so I think the Antillier actually had a younger brother, maybe 20 years younger than her, so still very young. Probably required some advisors to actually deal with the actual running of the kingdom in the meantime. But he's a bookish sort who's never actually really been seen in public. Maybe he was a little bit sickly, never really meant to actually take the throne. And when the Dragon Queen took over briefly last time, I think he was actually just immediately just like rushed out of the palace, like didn't even come up as a question. But now that that's all supposedly settled down, he's technically on the throne right now while everyone tries to figure out how they take this boy and turn him into a proper king.
He is on. They are attempting to turn him into a proper king, a proper sovereign, a proper leader of people. Though young, immature, and a rather brash, and their name. Like 14, yeah. Oh, 14, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He is technically next in line for the crown. I'm sure he'll be fine.
His name is
it Joffrey?
No, it's actually Julian.
Okay.
Julian
is a name from. It's actually a family name in my family. Julian. Although it's actually going to be Jollian, which is a variation of Julian, and people call him Jolly for short. But I'm not particularly present, or I'm not particularly pleasant. Oh gosh, this poor guy. Let me. Yes. Boy King. Ooh, that's gonna get spicy, and not in like a romantic way. Everyone's gonna try to manipulate this poor child. I'm curious, and now everyone's going to have an opportunity to add a little bit more to this narrative. So, everyone knows that Jolien is, Jolly's the bookish sort, physically weaker. Do one of you protect Jolien directly, or is there someone else, like an NPC? And I would like Sir Cataline to answer.
I was not directly involved in his bodyguards. I definitely would have been assigned him probably someone higher than a squire, I guess. But I feel like it's an NPC.
Here's a direct question. Is it Sir the newly knighted Sir Donald, or is it Sir Helena, the perfect knight?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't wish the guard of Jolly on either of them.
But it is. It's one or the other.
Okay.
Donald, here, try these hors d'oeuvres. Oh, thank you. What are they made of? You don't want to know.
He's never going to know.
He's never. Okay, so I look at the two of them and I stare hard at Donald, and I take the perfect knight to the side, and I look at her, and I'm like, I'm sorry. This is much more important than it will feel, but I require your assistance in protecting this young boy king.
And so Sarah Helena is charged with it?
Correct.
By you?
Indeed.
She explains that she will not fail you, and that you can trust in her always. And then, she kind of like, she kind of side eyes Donald, who's like, he's like looking at both of you. He's like, I think I love both of them, but I also think I'm doing that awkward phase where I love everybody. And then like, yeah. So, guarded by Sarah Helena, the perfect knight. Does Jolien, does Jolly reside in capital, or is he often at a different estate? And I'll let Antimony answer. You've traveled much, you would know.
I think he, during the events of last year, he was not in capital. He was at another estate, perhaps in like Suitmarch. And I think he goes back and forth a bit, spending a little bit more time in capital now, but only really coming for the affairs of state that he needs to deal with. But he travels with an entourage of his teachers and his guards and such.
Got it. Here's what we know. Jolly has intentions to study at the Intramuros. That's why he spent so much time in Sutmarch. He feels that not only was it the first school, it's also the best school. He's quite a bit different than the Antillier. He's a bit more, I don't want to say modern in his thoughts, but he is definitely highly influenced. And he has read your work, even at a young age, but he claims to have read all literature that has been published by knights the past 15 years, and he really wants to get to the Intramuros to read much older writings that they keep from him. So we're going to put, sorry, I typed in the wrong document. Well-studied, resides in a Sutmarch estate. So while he's studying in Sutmarch most of the time, there is a second steward that sits on the throne. That steward, you have a choice, Sir Danielle. Are you the steward, or is it someone you have selected to place on the throne? Because you would essentially, based on some of your past shenanigans, no.
M's face.
I should have expected this.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. You know what? Going by what I said last session at the end about a garden dying and being more like a wolf and going for things. So Danielle, they would have taken that responsibility on themselves.
The trusted steward. What is the title you have given yourself?
I just painted a target on my back.
Their excellency. Their excellency.
Their excellency. Their Excellency, Lord of Thorns and Light of the Church of Life.
Hot damn.
Excellency.
We're getting towards mercy levels here.
I
The
know
model of
this.
humility I see.
So,
Yeah.
given the fact that Sarah Danielle is a non-binary character, I think we'll do a laird with an E at the end of Thorns, which is neither a lady nor lord. It is a gender-neutral title. If that's okay with you, it can also be
that's fine.
a lord. I actually have a hereditary title of laird. I'm Laird Grant Ellis of Glencrannog, which is a location in Scotland. However, here in the United States, it is illegal for me to claim my noble title.
What?
Except on the internet.
All right. The worst part is we lied to get that title anyways. We're not going to get into the whole story of the deceitful Ellises. Oh, gosh. The charlatans of the greater continental. So we've gotten a little bit of information out of everyone. Now, the next question is... I would like our new knight, Sir Trist du Raven, to tell me what you and only you know about this boy king that is guarded by Sir Helena, who is well studied and has placed the Laird of Thorns on the throne.
What I and only I know. I think. Anything or in relation to what? Help me, new bird here.
Well, here's what I'll help you. You have complete and total narrative control and authority. So if you speak it, it is truth. So it is. It can be anything that you want. And so what we can do is we can help focus it a little bit. So it's either something personal to them, something about their house, or something as it relates to the nation as a whole. Which do you think it is most like? Either their house or their person, we'll say.
I think
they are of House Lion.
I think it is relevant to their house.
Ooh. All right. And what is it you know about House Lion that even the other lions currently do not know? And if you want, and you're out of ideas, we can always play a tarot card, and that'll let us know.
House Lion has been the House of Royals for a pretty long time, yeah?
Well, at least 100 years.
Okay. I would say the Boy King knows, and I know, that House Lion's claim is perhaps not as strong as they all think.
Ooh. The true claim... I can hear Sarah Danielle now. That's for sure. The true claim the throne is uncertain. So all of this is true in the fiction now, as That glitches and it puts 1,000 ins on my notes. Jolyon, known as Jolly, the Boy King, is guarded by Ser Helena. They are well studied. They reside at an estate in Thutmarch, and they hope to study at the Intramuros. They have placed a trusted steward on the throne, Their Excellency, the Laird of Thorns, Sir Daniel du Eagle. But the true claim to the throne is uncertain, and Ser Triste du Raven knows this. So that was our dramatic event this session. And so the nations kind of shook up. The Antellier is away. There was a rebellion and a coup. Not that long ago, a dragon queen sat on the throne, and they were slain. And during that battle, Chev Orphelia was gravely wounded. And a trade agreement has been made with the Lunar Republic, a kingdom to the north, where we've actually sliced off some of the golden wood and some of Norfell and have given it to them for mining purposes, lumber purposes, etc. So they're encroaching. But now we have moved to a special time during this Festival of Nights. A special time that is a time of celebration and joy despite the dark clouds that are on the horizon, where all knights have been invited to this vast parade. The parade is over, and the climax of this event is a private formal where nobles and knights all meet at a masquerade ball. Everyone comes masked, and they are allowed to design and describe their mask. But let's kind of set the establishment. So this follows the mini game a dance from the rules. However, as always with Unrestful Hearts, we play towards what we call the thrust of the scene, which means nothing has to be written down. We don't have to follow the script of the game exactly, as long as we are playing towards what feels appropriate given the current flow of the narrative. So I'd like each of you to sort of state a goal for me for this scene and place a narrative point. Oh my goodness, VMix is hating on our poor little cup of Raven right now. While we wait for it to reconnect, though, each of you select a narrative point to place into a pool. So this is kind of like your dance card. You show up at the dance and you place in the pool. It can come from any of your narrative pools. And all this we can repeat when Ser Triste du Raven returns. So go ahead and state the type of narrative point. And for our audience, our players have 3. They have crown points, which represent political influence, passion points, which is their lust for life, etc., and glory points, which is how well known the knights are. So go ahead and choose which of your narrative points you'd like to place into this pool. And during the night, you will get a random point back out of the pool. And possibly a few other points. There's some other ways that we might award points during this. So why don't we start with you, Pro? The Raven's back.
So you want me to see here?
You can say it. You can say it out loud. Say your goal, what you hope to accomplish at this formal masquerade ball, and then which narrative point you would like to place in the pool.
They've been going hard recently. They're on the throne. Even though it's just his first do it. They've been doing a lot of stuff. So I think their goal for this ball is to try and gain more interpersonal connection and just connect with the other knights, as since the dinner it's kind of spiraled the last few years.
You definitely need good knights to align with you, because not everyone is happy that Ser Daniel has been placed on the throne. What of Chev Orphelia?
Chev Orphelia, so I'm going to put a point in from my crown pool. Chev Orphelia has been, for the most part, out of the public eye and out of the circles that most of the knights run in. while she was recovered, and then for a while after she spent most of her time at the Artemiros, rather than actually doing night stuff. So I think this is actually the first event she's been to since then that has, like, this is her returning to knighthood and night things in general. So my goal for this scene is it's probably to kind of reconnect with the other knights and re-get her finger on the pulse of what is actually happening and if anything needs to change.
Antimony, are you present at this ball?
Yes, I was not present during the parade.
Got it.
I would not be on parade, but I would show up for the ball. Antimony is putting in a point of glory, and Antimony is looking to kind of gain some information here at the ball to put their finger upon the pulse of the knighthood, see where people stand, what rumors there are, and in part to perhaps see how Chef Ophelia is.
That's right. This is going to be one of the... Not many people have seen Chef Ophelia in public since the encounter with the Dragon Queen. It has been some time.
Otherwise... Oh, sorry. I was going to say, unless anyone feels otherwise, I don't think anyone has, probably except for Chef Beatrice.
And
Donald, of course, but he's different.
Stands guard every day, even when he has other things he should be doing. He's like, look, taste every bit of food they send your way. Sorry, I gotta check it. Nope, not poisoned. That was my best cake. It's delicious. All right, Sarah Tristan Raven. We'll bring you up to speed as VMix was messing up. So we're preparing for the Masquerade Ball. It follows the flow of the game, a dance, but not exactly. A lot of it's free form. So what does Sir Trista Raven hope to accomplish by arriving at this Masquerade Ball in disguise? And then you get to take a point from one of your narrative pools and just stick it into a pile. Then at the end of the game, we're going to switch points up.
Okay. I think Satriste has been gone for approximately 4 or 5 years now. Has been away and is hoping to, I think, acquire some intel on just the current situation and see who the players are and find out what exactly is going on, who knows whom, who is enemies, who is friendly. And I'll throw a crown point in for that, I think.
Is now in the pool.
Also, I don't know if I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to put a passion point in. I don't know if I said that.
Ooh. Got it. And Sir Cataline, your goal for the ball, and which narrative point would you like to place in?
The years have been formative and relatively kind, if not important, for Sir Cataline. I think the ball would signify a moment for her to perhaps relax and try to actually socialize with people. And Sir Cataline is going to put in a point of glory, hoping for passion back.
Ha ha ha! You know it. Oh my goodness. One of the games this is based on, I showed up at the final dance. They're like, you have no chance of ending up on the throne, Grant Ellis. Why are you here? I was like, to steal a point to pass to someone else and get them on the throne instead of you two. You can ship yourselves together all you like, but I will control the kingdom. All right.
Too much power. Too much influence.
And I'd like each of you now to Name an individual other than a knight who would be at this ball as well. It can be an NPC. It can be, say, one of the lost ones from the first episode. It could be one of those individuals. It could be another knight that you've encountered. It could be Jolly. It could be a squire. Just an NPC that's kind of an anchor. And it doesn't have to be one that's previously appeared. You can make one up if you'd like and say what their station is. Could be a caterer for all we care.
Okay. Well, I already have who Antimony would know there, and it'd be their name is Beadrose, and they are a lost one who is currently acting as a squire to Chev Antimony during their travels.
Love it. And what of Chev Orphelia? Who do you know at the ball?
I think Chev Beatrice is definitely here. Unless she counts as a knight, in which case I can pick somebody
You can count her there. She can be there.
Okay.
And Sir Danielle, or Laird Danielle. Your Excellency.
Oh, please, this light of the everlight, please, or light of the Church of Life. Both are acceptable.
Life in the world. May long live.
So we haven't really talked about this, and I kind of want to bring this in now about like the church and kind of like sexuality and things like that. And I think the church is very open and very like liberal in that kind of sense, and there isn't any like forcefulness for like marriage or like partnership and kind of thing. So I think
they value all relationships equally. That's sort of the doctrine.
Yeah, so I think Sir Danielle brings their like consoler, which is kind of like their counsel, like in all things, that trusted counsel, and like occasional like lover, which is like it's not Sir, like Counsel Lorenz.
Love it. Sir Cataline, who do you know at the ball?
I see. Sir Cataline would have spent a little time through now Laird Daniel, getting to know certain parts of House Eagle that they trust. And I think Sir Cataline would know a person that goes by Chev Emersenda, the Eagle. A lithe individual who comes across as colder, but has been able to explain some of the grander ideas of religion in a more structured way for Kathleen to understand.
Can you let me know, can you type the spelling of that or copy and paste it into our chat? Thank you.
Yep.
Alas, our poor Raven. Emersinda. It's a Chev Emersinda. And they are of House Eagle?
Yes.
What's the nickname you have for them?
I'm not
Only you have.
names.
But you've given her one.
Merci. Okay.
Alas, got to figure out what to do with the Raven. We'll play through the scenes and introduce the Raven if we're able to figure out the old struggle of VMix. So, alas. So here's how we start this game. Let's all describe how we all look to each other. So, first, yes, we got our masks. Some of us. How does Sir Cataline appear to the other knights, and what's her mood sort of as she arrives?
Sir Cataline dons a mask that one will notice half her face. But she's ready for a good time. She will come in, try to relax her body language a little bit, try to get a drink in, a fine wine, and try and just meander through the crowds rather than standing off to the side as she is wont to do.
And what's sort of her mood overall? So she's there, she's going to get a drink. She looks dazzling, of course. And then sort of how does she come off to the other knights?
To the other knights, I would hope to be a little more inviting, a little more pleasant, rather than brooding, one might say. But how successful I come across that way, she's just trying to take cues from like House Lion and maybe move about a little more, try dancing. It might be a little awkward.
All right. And what of Chef Orphelia?
Chef Orphelia has arrived at this dance in what is for her a pretty understated gown kind of situation. She's wearing a mask, but it's not doesn't cover a whole lot of her face. It's mostly just over the eye area. But it is very elaborate. It is kind of made to emulate almost like a sunrise sort of color scheme. And for the first time, I think, at any of these events, her hair is usually up in some sort of like braid or something to keep it out of her way. But for the first time, it's actually just loosened down. And overall, she looks not nervous, but that sort of constant energy that was always around her before, right now, is nowhere to be seen. And she walks around the edge of the party, kind of looking around, just get her eye on everything, get her finger on the pulse. But she looks almost calm for the first time.
Almost calm. And it's interesting. There are many beautiful figures kind of turning about the dance floor. They are all masked. They are all in elaborate costume. And it is actually probably the most entertaining thing she has seen in the past 12 months. Because having been essentially a recluse for so long, this is far more interesting than Sir Donald, who, despite his mask, you essentially pick out of the crowd. He just has that Donald frame, and he's kind of got this like cattle horn mask. I'm a cow today.
Of course.
This is great.
Nothing less.
And what of Chev Antimony?
Chev Antimony is in black tight silks, vested, very like the Man in Black almost, like tight clothes, a simple like shoulder cloak with dark fur with a slightly like burgundy red, a little bit of gold undertone on the inside, and a simple mask of red like paisley, like embroidered cloth that has been like raggedy, and it covers most of the top of the head and the eyes. It seems like it's flimsy enough to easily see through, but it obscures most of their identity. For those who recognize such, it would be probably some sort of remnant of some sort of house dragon garb.
All right. So now we all know how we look, and kind of how does Antimony carry themselves throughout the ball?
They stand tall, kind of aloof in a way. They are kind of just moving about, listening, kind of dancing very... Not actually, I don't know if they dance yet. But they're just kind of moving about with like a wine flute or like a flute of champagne in their hand. And just kind of like on the lookout in a way, like looking for somebody.
All right. And so we are here now at the dance. There are many people. Have any, but before we get there, Sir Danielle, how do you look?
I think Sir Danielle, they have this green and rose gold like dress on. The sleeves are extremely ruffled, and the front kind of goes down to almost like a fine ruffled kind of tie, kind of like and they're wearing a mask that kind of covers the eyes and kind of goes around the face, and there is like a symbol of like the church on there, of the sun, and this kind of like fawn lattice going around it.
And what sort of your mood essentially being? And there's many. Each night here, regardless of current station, has the reason to be the object of conversation, rumors, affection, and admiration here. You have Sir Cataline, the captain of the knights, a recognized war hero. You have Chev Orphelia, who it is said dueled the Dragon Queen sword to sword, and has sort of been a bit of an enigma to the populace. And these stories spread all through the kingdom. So there are people that heard that these legendary knights would be here. There is Sir Danielle, the Laird of Light, essentially the steward of the land royal. So there are many people vying for the knight's affections and attentions. And so there's going to be a lot to do. But essentially, music is playing, and the knights are engaged in the dance at this point, or a type of dance. Sir Cataline, is this a slower dance or a faster dance right now?
At this point in the night, I envision a more lighthearted, fast-paced dance going on.
Good old folk dance. So you have the opportunity to encounter and interact with any of the knights from our group at the moment. So which of the knights do you encounter? And you can converse naturally. Then you are allowed to ask a question. And it can be any question that relates to your goal, or it can come from the list of questions from our mini game, a dance. But it can be anyone. Likewise, it could be an NPC that we've introduced into the situation as well.
I would say Sir Cataline is going to be avoiding Chev Orphelia, being older and trying to gather a little more inner lion. I'm gonna sidestep that side of the dance floor, and maybe I will take respite off to the sides where I normally can be found, and kind of do a double take and appear by Chev and Timony's side.
And Timony, does she recognize you?
Maybe the jawline, which has a little bit more travel worn, Their hair is longer, but the build is still the same lithe, graceful build, the same height, the same stature. So perhaps I leave that to Sir Kathleen, whether they want to recognize Antimony or not.
Sure. So Kathleen will take a moment to continue sipping some wine and has a flashback to a night in the moonlight in the gardens and the mazes, and a great conversation she had with Chev Antimony, and notice you and just say, Do I recognize you? Is that a Chev Antimony?
Perhaps it is a masquerade, and these things bring out dreams.
My God, it's been so long. Are you okay?
Yes, and you, are you okay? You look well. How was Capital then?
Tumultuous, intriguing, but surviving as it will continue to do so. We are in a very interesting time, my dear.
We are. I hear her star of the skies has not returned. And we have a child upon the throne, as well as a Joyland.
It's I try to protect the ones that need it and assign the best guards to the best people, but I wonder who should be the most protected in this moment. Do you have people by your side?
I have traveling companions, if that's what you worry about. I know these roads can be dangerous, but how's Chev Orphelia?
I would argue that Chev Orphelia is growing into a wiser space. I've not seen her personally, though, so I'm not quite sure what she's up to at the moment. Have you tried the wine here?
Oh yes, it is. It's quite nice.
Yes. Do make sure to enjoy your time here.
You as well, Sir Catherine. It is good to see you again.
Yes, I won't bother you much. Let me know if you need anything.
It's no bother. I hope you enjoy your night.
Thank you. You as well. And she'll meander away from Chev and Timony.
All right. So Antimony has the choice. They can take the you can take the reins, or you can pass it to someone else, but you essentially have the decision and the authority to decide.
I think I want to pass the reins for now. Maybe I'll step up and do something in a little while, but let's see what Sir Daniel is doing and pass the reins to them.
So describe the dance. Who do you find? Who do you find in the dance? Either an NPC or one of our knights.
So Daniel is coming off very nervous, unsure, but very like in the moment and kind of jolly. You can tell that they are trying to enjoy themselves. going to put this as a night of importance. And I think they, if they're interested, I think they find Chevophilia on the dance floor.
Chevophilia is often found on the dance floor. However, her demeanor has changed.
Tonight, not quite so much.
I bring in 5 drinks.
For old times.
Oh my god.
I love it. And I think it's one of those like light, brisk kind of like medieval dances where it's like, you know, you go forward, you lift your hand, you twirl.
Yeah, a lot of hand twirling stuff.
Yeah. And I think we kind of partner up on that, and I just kind of say to you, "Oh, Chevophilia, I am pleased to see you out and about. It's a pleasure to see you again."
Likewise, it did seem at the time. It's just me, or are there more of us in here than last year?
Yes, it seems recent events have caused quite a lot of nights to come out of necessity. It is nice.
It is. Seeing them all in one place, just all celebrating. It's quite nice. Sorry. Are you enjoying yourself in your new position? It must be awfully stressful.
As this is spoken, your council kind of like sidles up next to you, and do you let them kind of like rest their head on your shoulder?
I don't think
if that's awkward too. All right, yeah, they get the signal. They're like, not now. Laird's busy.
Back.
Admired.
Oh no!
Spray them with water bottles. Back.
Yeah, like I think I catch their gaze, and I'm just like, you know, I'm fine. I'm enjoying myself, kind of thing. There's no need to like attend me. And I say to you, yes, I am enjoying myself, and here I'm trying to, at least. You know more than the rest, being in the thick of it, how intense the last few years have been.
Oh yes.
How are you recovering after your injuries? I was glad to hear that you survived.
Oh, well, no lasting damage, it would seem. I've just asked Chef Beatrice. I'm sprightly as ever. Just a little, perhaps more. Cautious is not really the right word. But I've learned from you a little. I've learned from everyone a little. I'm hoping it'll show. But for now, here's one thing where, pardon my rudeness, but I believe I can show you a thing or two. And I'm going to, if they'll let me, kind of bring this dance up to the next level. We're going to have a fun time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely do.
Yeah.
In the dance is a perfect match. Now, is either of you a greater dancer than the other, or are you both equal in ability? Who leads and who follows?
I mean,
I think this big question kind of answers this, because I was going to ask it. I stumble like during this like uptake, kind of like not used to it, and kind of in the question it's like, do you let me, or do you help me come back gracefully?
I think as they stumble, Orphelia shows the first true, genuine smile that she has since she's arrived at this dance, and catches them and spins them back up and makes it look like that was just part of the whole plan the whole time. They just did a particularly risky and perhaps a little bit outside the norm kind of dance move there. So fun, isn't it?
I love it. It is then that the doors open and all the music stops and time seems to stand still for a moment as a new masked knight has arrived. Sir Trist du Raven, describe how you appear at this masquerade ball. You have shown up fashionably late and the band has struck. So describe your attire.
The Raven stands.
Oh.
Oh no.
We'll never
Sort of
know.
locked up again.
Oh, there you are.
You're
Oh,
there.
she's back.
Please,
You're back.
please, Phoenix, please. Good.
Yes.
Okay. If I could just get through the description. So, decidedly conservative, head to toe black, kind of a long tunic with a train at the back that sort of almost brushes the floor, and a black feathered mantle, just black on black all the way through, and even their hair, short and kind of tousled, looks black, but when the light hits it just right, there are hints of what might be auburn or red. And their eyes are a bright amber gold behind the mask.
All right. As time stands still, you have the opportunity to declare any of the knights or any non-player character, including one you would like to introduce, as you did not get the opportunity earlier, to take as your dance partner for essentially a dance in which everyone kind of stops and watches for a second. Who's your dance partner?
Well, I don't think the Raven came alone. I think they came with a young lady who is affiliated with the houses, but is not necessarily a knight. Her name is Christina. She's affiliated with House Lion.
Oh.
Christina du Lion.
She is young and maybe a bit meek, but well dressed and well cared for. And I think the Raven will dance with her first.
Ooh, and the world stops while this new Raven Knight, where there is sort of this echo of something familiar, maybe from years past. However, there are clearly no one who is recognized during this time of civil strife, is observed by the rest of the knights. Okay, and you have the opportunity to ask, essentially you'll be conversing with Christina du Lion right now, and you can sort of narrate how this looks. So I unfortunately will play Christina. I think I'm up to the challenge though. So Christina's mood is both fascinated being surrounded by so many knights. These are essentially the people these are the subjects of legend, you know. There's Chef Ophelia. What a dancer. Oh my gosh, the Laird. However, only you can sense the sort of bewildered admiration. To everyone else, she appears ice cold, very unlion-like. But you kind of sense the bewilderment. You can tell, essentially, by the way you've held her, nobody else knows. And if you'd like to notice this secretly, just message in chat. Oh, I notice as well, because I am a trained knight who's astute, and I know when someone's putting on a facade. So now you may converse with Christina naturally and ask any question you'd like, or pass the camera and the focus to someone else.
I think she's gone.
We've lost our Joe.
No.
Do you hear the drums, Fernando?
The amber eyes are too strong.
Amber eyes. Oh my gosh. Well, we love you, Joe. We hope we can slay the port monster sometime. Yes, Chef Antimony sees it. So the way we will say this does, they dance the entire song, and a single violinist essentially solos throughout this dance while the world holds still. And at that point, Christina DeLion of House Lion and this Raven, who came and performed a song and a dance for but a brief moment that felt like an eternity, exited. They made their appearance, so they surely were a knight, and they were admitted. They brought a beautiful guest. They were clearly disguised. Their amber gold eyes shone brightly for the brief moment they were seen, and as the music stops, they exit. We'll pass it back to Antimony.
Do people go back to dancing after this?
Oh yes, it goes right back to dance.
Okay. I think Antimony would watch Ophelia and Danielle for a little while, and then move up as the song comes to an end, as the new song starts, to offer their hand in dance to Chef Ophelia.
Antimony, you made it.
I would not miss it. Not for the world.
Do excuse me. And I nod to Sir Danielle.
You definitely see like shock when you say Antimony's name, because they haven't seen him in like for so long, and disappointment. But like it goes graceful, like it's like a split second, and they kind of bow and then they kind of move away.
Your council immediately snatches you up though and starts like rushing you to a place to no, stay away from this. Stay away from that. It was all bad for you anyways. Okay. Sorry.
No joy for you.
Council Lorenz. All right, we'll play out your scene, Ophelia and Antimony.
Okay, so yes, having turned away from Sir Danielle, Ophelia does take a Chef Antimony's hand, and I assume they start dancing.
And during the dance, Antimony has the opportunity to ask any of the questions as well as converse naturally as seems fit.
How are you?
All things considered, I'm doing quite well. Chef Beatrice would probably say I'm doing better than ever, at least by her definition.
Well, you look well, but I know that you're strong of body, and you're the best caretakers, but how are you in here? And if you'd like, they put their hand very lightly on your chest.
I think there's a second where Ophelia sees the intention and her eyes almost flash with this visible sorrow for a moment, and she catches Chef Antimony's hand and holds it for a second, and then turns the dance around so that they're actually so that it looks like that was part of the dance, and just says, there are some things that will take a little longer to recover. But I suspect I'm not alone in this. I have not seen you in a very long time. And from what I've been hearing, I'm not alone in this. What happened to you? The last I saw you... Well, I'm sorry I made you...
You didn't make me do anything. Do not put that upon yourself. This weight is not yours to bear.
If I had been stronger, none of that would have happened.
Yeah.
You can say all of those pretty words you like so much as you like, but the truth is what it is, and I'm afraid I can't change it. I am glad you came back, though. There are many of us who worried that you would not.
I thought about staying away. It had an appeal, but there's still so much here that I care about. I could not leave so many questions unanswered.
Well, I don't know that a masquerade's the best place to start if you're looking for answers to questions, but...
I think I might disagree there. The masquerade is a way, and these masks are a way for us to lie in a way, but nobody lies perfectly. Every lie is a truth. It is a way to show the truth, but say that it is not.
All right, then. What truths have you seen through the lies tonight?
Well, and Timian looks around very briefly, and their eyes land on Sir Catelyn. Sir Catelyn, we'll take as example. They wear half a mask. They don't have much to hide. I feel a division in them, though, between one half of the moon and the other. There's insight to be gained through the masks we wear. Some wear great and bright lights to blind others to what they hide. Some wear the remnants of their shame upon the face, unable to distinguish themselves from it.
And you?
Well, that last one was me.
At this, Ophelia kind of laughs a little bit. You know, it's been a year, but you still overthink every single little thing, and then increases the tempo of the dance, I think, and they just kind of, if you're cool with ending the scene there, I think they just kind of dance off to the corner or around the rest of the masquerade, and seem to be having a grand old time.
Yeah, that works for me.
Chev Orphelia, or Chev Beatriz has like watched this entire exchange with kind of like eyes like daggers the whole time. And if Antimony catches her, despite her mask, he'd recognize those eyes and kind of the way she stands perfectly still anywhere. The daggers aren't meant for Antimony. Clearly, Beatriz has been on edge this past year.
What did I do now?
You were born.
You continue to associate with dragons.
It's not the dragons that does it. If you'd like, and Sir Cataline, you're sort of taken by the elbow by one Chev Beatriz and Chev Emercinda, who you know as Mercy. So they sort of pull you aside. And Beatriz thanked you for your assistance this past year. And I'm going to give you an option of what you have assisted her in. The first thing you could have assisted her in is several assassination attempts that were made on Orphelia's life while she was recovering that she does not know about. The second thing is making sure that the strongholds and estates of House Eagle were protected by House Wolf and essentially the young army that has been raised by your and Sir Helena's hand. The third thing would be simply being her friend. But I give you complete and total narrative control and authority, which of these three things you did assist her in. However, I will say this. All things were true, but if Wolf House didn't help defend House Eagle, a different house did, and I will roll to determine. If you did not help her thwart the assassination attempts, it was a different night. It wasn't you. Likewise, if you weren't her friend, then someone else was.
Oh. Jess wants all of the above, but Cataline would have...
It can be all three if you'd like.
I think I would like to own that title of being Beatrice's friend, but I think I would not have been one to withhold such grave information as protecting Chev Orphelia from assassinations from Chev Antimony. So go ahead.
That's some heavy stuff, though, and that could come up later in the dance.
Oh, oof.
You didn't know until now, right?
I know. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Your friend. Oh, that's
You've been
fine.
drinking.
No way. Real fast, forgot one thing.
I think I do like it. It's spicy. It's drama. I wanna say I helped with the assassination buffs. I will protect the little lion.
Beatrice explained she couldn't have done it without you. And she sort of takes both yours and Emerson's, hand for a second. And she asked you if you've seen an individual she refers to as the loner. And when she speaks of the loner, she's referring, that's kind of her not so code for antimony.
Merci, back in the day, I would have been known as the loner myself. So, of course, I know exactly where the loner is now.
Right. He is aware of all that has occurred, and if it wasn't for his speed of his speed of message, I would not have been able to notify you. And she essentially leaves it with you. She goes, however, I'm not sure I entirely trust them yet. If it was not for their speed of message, I would not have been able to act.
Well, that's brilliant. I should have known they would be already in the know of this. Okay, that's good that we didn't bring that up earlier. That's fine. So you're saying they were your intel? They knew about all of these attacks?
Most of them. There were several, of course. Donald came calling, Beatrice, Beatrice! And as he does. What do you make of Donald being a knight?
It wouldn't be the first time that persistence and loyalty provides a title rather than skill. I don't mind it.
Nor do I. Donald is a true friend. However, I grow nervous that they put increasing pressures on the boy. He's very single-minded, very focused. He can only handle one task at a time. I mean, look at him now, and she sort of motions, and like Donald's trying to like dance with a group of people, but he keeps thinking it's like one partner, and they have to keep like adjusting his body and like get him back in the group dance. But he's like, no, I can't handle this, but I'm having the time of my life. Being a knight is awesome. Beatrice thanks you for your friendship and your steadfastness, and with that, departs. It is now yours to either converse with one of the other knights or another NPC.
Oh my God. So Beatrice walked off?
Unless you kept her there.
That's okay. Beatrice can walk off. If Merci is still there, I just kind of mutter under my breath. The poor boy is so very not multifaceted. But he has his uses, I'm sure. Would you like this dance?
Emercinda, your friend Merci, just what uses does Donald have? She seems absolutely confused. She's like, I get it. He's been present during these great many things, but I do rather enjoy this dance. The music is lively. It's well played. And who is it exactly you're speaking of? Who is this Ophelia to you? And she doesn't say that like rudely. She does not know Ophelia.
Okay. Ophelia is a young, important lion. We have gotten to know her a little bit more throughout the years, and I mean, she faced the Dragon Queen. Did you not hear of that?
The way I heard it is a dragon slayed the dragon.
Well...
And also, there was official decree that Sir Daniel was the true hero who negotiated the treaty. They said they took one look at them, and all the kingdoms, all the Lunar Republic trembled in their boots. He is rather incredible, isn't he? She speaks. Slight blush behind her mask.
Yes, Sir Daniel and Catalina will pause. Indeed, they are very, very grand. But I can assure you, you know stories and you know the tales. We are all heroes, and the success of that night was not possible had any one of those individuals not been there.
She says, there's none as great as you, Sir Catalina, and she moves to embrace you. Do you let her? And she seems like generally like she's clearly listening when you speak.
I will allow it. Allow a soft embrace.
Yeah, and it's kind of polite. She realizes she might have said some things out of turn, unbecoming of a guest a night. And she's clearly had, she's hit a few bottles tonight. Yes, and with that, you are free to ask her any questions that you'd like, or pass the focus.
I think I'm gonna pass this moment along. I had my heart taking a beat. My mind is a little askew after seeing the dance to Raven, and I need to know more.
So, Sir Kathleen, do you know more by asking questions of other knights, or do you kind of pursue after them and maybe get a little bit of information on the side later? They would not know you were coming unless they knew you were coming.
Oh, absolutely. Kathleen is not one to leave the job subtly.
Right.
I'm having trouble understanding.
Are there any other scenes that any of the knights want to play at this ball, or do we want to move to the quest portion of the game?
Danielle would like to have a scene with Antimony.
They can be found. Well, you know what they look like now.
Yeah, after a video, like Antimony.
Subtlety? What?
Never heard of it.
Never heard.
I think. Would you be dancing, or would you be like eating or something?
I think after dancing with Ophelia, Antimony moves off to kind of stand off to the side with a flute of champagne, just kind of observing the night.
So I think Danielle comes over to you, seeing maybe your glass emptying, and will offer some rose wine from their personal kind of garden that is super secret and no one ever gets in.
Definitely.
And they kind of come over to you with their own, and they just say, "It has been a while since we have conversed," and they offer you the glass.
They will take it with a small bow of their head. So Laird Danielle, how are you?
I am, and they'll kind of like rub their face. I am well. I am doing good. Things are calm this evening, and I have missed that. But how have you been? You have not been seen for quite some time, nor have I been able to hear of your whereabouts.
I needed a breath of fresh air to see the land royal and hear its people, hear what happens. And so I wandered for a time. Kept my ear on the ground, though.
And what is it the people say that you have heard, that you could not hear otherwise, old friend?
Oh, this, that, an underpinning, a rumbling of worry. If the Invincible army was beat back so fiercely, and the Dragon Queen defeated, why does the land still concede part of itself to the interlopers?
Yes. A split in the land is never ideal, but peace for negotiation is always best instead of bloodshed. We have lands, we have goods, we have a trade. And we can keep an eye on those who are in the light instead of those who are in the shadows. Are you planning to return to your school, to the dragon?
I'll be around, Capital. I'll be here as station dictates, as I am needed.
I wonder, Chev and Timony, have you ever noticed how alike we are in these last few years? We have witnessed interlopers, had our houses betray our ideals and expectations, and had to slay those who once wore our colors with pride.
There's a similarity I can see.
It is a similarity I feel we've had most of our lives, although I do miss our heated debates in the auditorium.
Yes, well, perhaps one day they will be there again.
Indeed.
I've written some pieces recently. Perhaps you might enjoy them.
I would. If I know where you are staying, I can send over a new text I've heard the Archbishop has written as well.
Oh, that'd be a delight to read.
I must also inform you that my sister, Rose, she passed away this winter. She was quite fond of you. We will be having a ceremony for her in a few months. You're welcome to attend.
I'll make an appearance.
I miss, and I think they say this just before they leave. I long for the days where things were simpler, and we would have debates of taxes.
If our problems were only so small once again.
Indeed. Please enjoy your night. And they leave.
And we will set the sun on that scene. So there's some narrative tags that are going to get assigned, as well as some narrative points that are going to change hands. Now, I have performed all this backstage, and I will go through them. So Chef Ophelia has gained the tag Unshakable. She is now seen as, despite being wounded and despite confronting plots that surround her, there's sort of a unchanging quality where she is resolved in her nature and will not be swayed by silver-tongued individuals, offers of money, offers of power. She is a knight of station and honor. And she also obtains a crown point. Sir Cataline gets the tag celebrity. Everybody knows Sir Cataline. Sir Cataline is now viewed as a very famous knight, and receives a point of passion. Chev Antimony, I'm giving you the tag of patience. At any point, Antimony's sort of patient demeanor. There may be instances where we don't know this until it happens, but Antimony has put a plan into place, and we don't really know until the plan comes into action. It's one of those sort of retroactive. It's just sort of like, oh yes, I had seen this coming from all along. Play your patience, and you've kind of planned in advance. The Rube Goldberg machine of Unrestful Hearts. As well as a crown point. And Sarah Danielle, I'm giving you the long-suffering tag. This is a divine quality almost, where Sarah Danielle's their heart endures the deepest sorrow, and has the ability to carry that burden and press forward towards a brighter day. And you've also received a point of glory, which might be beneficial because I'm not sure if you had any left after you saved Sir Donald's life. Our clocks of Revolution, War, and Inquisition have advanced. And currently, despite our best efforts to quell any revolution, we are on the brink of a meltdown. Perhaps it's because all knights were called to capital. Perhaps it's due to the financial collapse and economic hardship of House Dragon. This you know. There are disputes in... let me pull up the region's name, make sure I've got the right one. Disputes have occurred in the Goldenwood, to the point where there are members of the Lunar Republic that have been sort of pressing upon the members of the Goldenwood. That's where all the ancient tribes are, after all, and that's where kind of the ceremonial grounds, the ancestral grounds are for House Wolf, etc. That's all been taken over by the Lunar Republic now. They explained to the wolves, this land was given to us by your crown and your authority, and toddle off. It doesn't matter if there was sacred grounds. There's better use for this land. Despite these letters to the capital, they must have been intercepted on the way, because neither Laird Daniel or the Antillier previously, or Jolyon, nobody has received word that this was going on until it was too late. Members of the Goldenwood have seized back these territories. They have seceded from the Land Royal. They have annexed back their ancestral lands from the Lunar Republic, essentially kicking the Lunar Republic off the Land Royal, particularly in the Goldenwood, but they're not allowing any knights to enter. These are wolves, by the way, and there are many members of House Wolf who are still loyal to the crown. However, there has been a schism, not a religious schism, but more a revolution where members of House Wolf have forsaken the name Wolf and have taken up essentially the name of Wood. They refer to themselves as the Wooden Knights, and they don't dress in wood, but they're like, we are the Knights of the Wood. We are not wolves any longer, and we will defend our people. So all of the Goldenwood is a separate nation now. The whole lot of it. And that's going to be the challenge of the year. Now, this is going to be a pretty intense difficulty. I have just rolled a die, and I have come up with a whoops. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Here we go. So let me get my little narrative clock out. And this is going to be known as the Golden Woods War. And this is a full-on revolution. So there's a lot of different steps that would occur in this, though. There are the people. The people essentially have desires, and their desires is that. Well, we'd have to talk about that through play and how you've obtained it. However, they're not since they have no interest in corresponding with the crown. But here's how the scene will be set. Laird Danielle, you have summoned trusted knights of years past. You have summoned each of our player characters and a whole host of squires, which I will pull out. Essentially, talk about it as players amongst yourselves, and we'll come up with a plan of action how we handle this Golden Woods War. From the approach, I mean, they are your citizens, though they claim they're not. Sir Cataline, that's where her family is. There's perhaps her siblings are generals on the other side now. So this strikes deep. So I'll let you talk amongst yourselves as knights. You have been gathered together.
I am
Bloody hell.
I am glad all of you could attend my invitation. There is dire work happening in the Golden Woods, and I fear it needs our utmost attention. And
not a hyperbole.
you know, right? And Lord Danielle is like sitting on the throne. They're doing this in the throne room.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Rose crown and everything.
Your council, one counts on one shoulder, one counts on the other, drinking a bottle of rose wine, the crown, the works.
Mm-hmm.
So like you wear a crown when you're officially a steward?
I've been wearing a crown for like 2 years now.
That's very true. Sir Cataline will look at you and very quizzically inquire, how should I refer to you now? I just want to get that out of the way while we discuss such serious matters.
Oh,
no, not another.
No. Oh my god, Felix, why?
He's alive! They're alive!
You froze for a minute.
Oh, okay. It's weird. I heard that host disconnected. That was weird. I heard what you said about the serious matters, yeah, and how he should refer to me. So I was here for it. I just wasn't moving. I say, Lord Danielle, light of the life of church, the Church of Light.
Every time? The whole thing? Really?
No, just Sir Danielle is fine.
I will save face in front of all courts, but right now, formalities are a bit unnecessary, I must say. Thank you.
Of course.
I am too close to this matter, and I need guidance. I don't understand why this is happening now, and how we should best squash it.
How can we
Is there no negotiation can be done?
How can you not understand why this is happening? People are upset. We gave away part of our land to the Lunar Republic, who had come in and fomented a war, propped up a false queen, and we defeated them, and they were rewarded with part of our world, part of our land. If it were my land, if it were the Suit March, I can't say that the dragons would not have done the same.
They were already mining and logging there without any permission. And with the war that we had to fight in our own capital, the wolves were spread thin. So it was either peaceful logging or a war on two fronts. And we will be having a very different conversation. Now we have a treaty, and that means that if they break this treaty, they would be showing more of their hand than their back dealings with their propping up. And all of our lands can go to war. So this is official proof.
This treaty with the Lunar Republic, who made it?
I did.
And when?
It was done at the time of peace. But it gave the Lunar Republic a small plot of land, and it seems they are trying to take more than what was given. Cannot fight every battle, especially when we were spread thin at the capital. Now, I will give my utmost for the people of Sudmarch, for they have the right to that land.
This is not Sudmarch, this is Norfell and Goldenwood.
Goldenwood, sorry. I will give my... That was me. Me, the player, messing up. I will give it my utmost attention to the Golden Woods. As a logging treaty does not mean the entire area belongs to them. And we need to find a reasonable negotiation. Every conflict we have cannot end in bloodshed. We must learn to negotiate, or we will become isolated on the world stage.
There's a number of people gathered here, and a great many of your associates have gathered. Sir Donald the Brave, that's been added to Sir Donald's name. Sir Helena, the Perfect Knight. Laszlo, also known to the House Wolf as the Grand Josiah, a religious leader and prophet.
Is he still around?
Sophia. It was more, they were more of a myth previously, but they're the ones that have arrived and have told you about the trouble going on in Goldenwood. However, they explained that they were going on a spirit journey, which they did, which led them to capital to seek assistance because they feel it is wrong.
I see that the assassination attempt on them has failed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So far. That's when Laszlo says, well, there's actually 7 of me. There's Lionel, Llewellyn, Linus, and Lorenzo. We are all the Grand Josiah.
Oh my god. This Korean Josiah.
Who the fuck did I kill?
Well,
the Grand Josiah is not a member of the church. They're a pagan.
yeah.
They're known. They're related to the Sun Wolves, or rather, there's some ties. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought we attempted to assassinate like the head of Church of the Grey Sun and Black Sun, and I think I was involved, but
there's a couple people that have died.
Mm-hmm.
Claude did not last. There were leaders of the various churches. The Grand Josiah wasn't necessarily. They were the result of a tarot card, and we didn't determine whether or not they really existed or not. They were more of a rumor. Now you know the rumor's true. They've come. They walked in barefoot. They had a pet wolf with them that walked beside them. No leash or anything. It's just sort of stood at their side. They carry a great large sword, which looks to be the exact same make as the ancestral sword that Sir Cataline carries. It is a sister sword. And they essentially look like they have not bathed in several weeks, but they give off no odor or smell, and they kind of explain it allows them to camouflage with the rest of the world, of which they are very much a part. Jovia is a squire, a wolf house squire. Anna is known as the Wolf Princess. There was a time in the ancient times, as they were known, where House Wolf and the Golden Wood were their own separate and free nation. She would be the direct descendant to wear a wolf crown, essentially. She has sort of appeared as there are many wolves out there in the Golden Wood that would follow her were she to speak. Likewise, they might follow the Grand Josiah if they were going to speak. However, neither of them have agreed to do that yet. Epictetos is there. Their hair is graying slightly. They're not old. They've just seen some shit. And Dion Sidoros is sort of a dragon house, almost ambassador to the Golden Wood when they are not tending to the needs of House Dragon. Let's make sure I pronounce this right. Is it Beadros?
Mm-hmm.
Beadros?
Beadros.
Yeah. Beadros, the Lost One, essentially is there as a second to Chev Antimony. And Chev Beatriz is there, who essentially, in the absence of Ser Daniel, is essentially viewed as the leader of House Eagle's Knights. So there's a great many people who gathered, and it is then that Anna speaks very kind of bluntly and explains. She's like, how do we approach the Golden Wood, and what is your intention? Do you wish to integrate them back into your fold and place them beneath your feet as a stool to prop up your kingdom? There are many of them, and many wolves have left her house, and she points over at Sir Cataline, and have joined them. They are the fearsome fighters, if you recall, the ones that helped slay back the invincible army of the dragons. It is these very same sort. So she's kind of pressing. She's like, okay, what's your intention for these people in the Golden Woods? Are you just going to bring them back in? Are you going to eliminate their army? She wants to know sort of what the end game is.
If Cataline doesn't speak, so Danielle it would say reintegration. I was there on the field that day as well. I know how hard and fierce they fight. That is their home, and I do not know what I tolerate outsiders usurping it. But I will also not tolerate...
She laughs at the word usurp as it comes out of her mouth, but she covers it and realizes she's completely informed. She's like, sorry about that. Just it comes and it goes.
Anna,
Apologies.
that's hardly an apology, and you seem to have words that you want to truly speak.
It's fine. It's just very strange that a king studies at the Intermuros and a crown still is on the throne. Is it not strange? Chev Orphelia, and she sort of looks over at Chev Orphelia, who she actually has a great admiration for. In her mind, Orphelia was one of the heroes of the last war. In fact, you all were heroes. Anna seems to take what we'll call the lion's path.
I'm sorry, I missed the actual question in there.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so Anna, the wolf princess, began to laugh at Sardagno. When he said the word, he would not tolerate usurping, and she lost it because she was just like, "Oh, please, you wear a rose crown and sit on the king's throne. Meanwhile, a boy has been sent to the Intermuros. It was no accident that you ended up on that throne." But she wanted to know Chev Orphelia's opinion on the validity of the words being spoken. To be fair, as the law is written, though we know, as the Raven Knight mentioned earlier, the true claim to the throne is uncertain. What does Orphelia speak, and what's her mood towards all of this, and what would she do with the wolves? It kind of is off subject, but it seems to be that Anna may not have faith in the current crown.
I'm afraid I've been rather out of touch from current events recently. But if Sir Daniel's judgment is such that I trust, at least on this.
Tell me, Sir Daniel, Laird of Light, Laird of Eagles, would you place Sir Catiline on a throne in Golden Wood? That is what the people speak of. Her family has spoken that it should happen.
To what end? To merely split the nation?
They have already split, have they not? You cannot split them anymore. You would simply have a friend on a throne as opposed to an enemy. And right now you have enemies.
And I wish to bring back old ties and old allegiances. You speak of enemies, you speak of thrones, yet I hear no solutions coming from your mouth, just japes.
I heard a
My solution is you speak there, lurking one, and she kind of notices Antimony, who kind of appears out of nowhere.
Antimody's like snapping in the background, like, yes.
She offered you a solution, Laird, that we must admit the land royal is broken. And once something is broken, it cannot be fixed as it was before. The cracks will be there forever. But perhaps we can make it into something that is amiable to all. To those that reside in that area whose trust has been damaged through the actions of this administration, and perhaps with time things can be whole again, but to make demands is only going to fracture things further.
The demand I'm hearing, Antimony, is putting a throne Well, I see no colors you wear. As it was your administration that set things ablaze.
No, you admitted by your own words this very day that you signed this treaty with the Lunar Republic, that you signed this treaty when you had no authority to do so. The Dragon Queen still sat on the throne at this time. You were not Laird. You were not steward. You were not steward at the time, but you overstepped your authority.
This is true.
Beatrice said, I thought he missed debating him.
Your words, they cut with a sharpness and a tone that bears ill will here. I sense an implication that you believe us to be far removed from the situation.
I think you mistake your will with the truth.
The truth that House Dragon was already broken, already corrupted, already bought out.
House Dragon, the mystery of why there were so many West folk here, what brought them, why a false queen sat upon the throne, these I don't have answer to. The question now, though, is why treaties with the Lunar Empire were made after their involvement with this rebellion.
Sir Helena speaks up.
Improper authority.
Sir Helena speaks up and says, "My laird, I will take a dispatch of my most loyal knights and I will demand their immediate surrender. There will be no more than 5 of us. Don't listen to me."
Daniel kind of stands up and just says, they're facing Shiv and Timony. If it was not for your house's corruption and able bodies to be bought out, the foreign powers would not have gained such a foothold. They would not have been able to raise such an army with the money that they were so easily bought with. They would not have been able to put the dragon on the throne, meaning that the usurper would have not gained so much power. We had to raise an army and fight that army. I made that peace deal because the foreigners had gained too much power, and fighting on 2 fronts would have weakened us as a whole. It was your house's actions that put us in this state. I made that treaty because no one else had the authority. Our queen was gone. Your house had usurped the throne. And I saw peace where there was chaos. Now, when my house betrayed my people, I set them to the sword and I sought inwards. When your house did so, you ran.
Beatrice speaks up and says, "They have no house. And you will not claim that they do."
And you are gravely mistaken, Danielle. To think that I ran? To think that I did not shed blood for the unity of this land? To think that I do not still work towards the betterment of this land?
Yet you chose to work alone, and that's not one to be faulted for. We understand. Now is not the time to get your emotions high.
Yeah, Beatrice kind of looks sadly between Antimony, then turns to Ophelia, then back to Antimony and says, "They have their reasons for working alone."
Sir Cataline wants to take a look, and she wants to call out to the Wolf Princess, to the Perfect Knight, and look at both of them. You demand that I set throne upon the Golden Woods. Yet, if you believe that to be the ultimate solution to this situation, do you not see that that leads precedence for the rest of the lands to splinter, to demand their own sovereignty?
Sir Cataline, you have done much study of battle, but you have not done much study of history. And I mean no offense when I say that. The wolves have an army and can fight. The middle
Who do
country
you think
has
trained most of that army?
I literally know that it was you. I was there, and she points, you see, she sort of opens her dress, and you see her shoulder severely scarred. She goes, I am one who has fought alongside you. I have bled side by side with you in combat. I may be a princess, but I am also a warrior, and I am a proud one of that. And I have bled by many blades from the invincible army, so-called, which we defeated when I was but a girl. With that said, I say that we put you on the throne, or we do not put you on the throne, but we must take action soon, because the wolves, they will grow in numbers, and they will not allow you to enter so kindly, and they will not allow, they are not going to hand their lands back to you, not for any reason. However, they might be subsided with your presence, and she kind of points over at Sir Helena, who is still looking for Sir Daniel's response, because Helena's essentially resolved. She'll take 5 knights. She'll demand their immediate surrender. And most likely she will probably be killed. All of them. They will all be decimated. However, it'll make a statement. Or they might show mercy. She really doesn't know what will happen, but she thinks it's her duty to demand that they surrender, because you are, in fact, on the throne, and they are, in fact... They are, in fact, in a state of rebellion. It's entirely the party's call, though. And whoever has the most crown points will have the final say.
This is why Daniel hasn't answered her, because Daniel knows that they will be going in to be slaughtered, and they will be honor bound to then seek war, and that is not what they want. They are trying to hold the title of peacekeeper, and has already stated that they want to have a negotiation with the wolves.
All right. So talk about how that negotiation might look, and where it would take place, and how you would convince them to negotiate. You have assets.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely go, but I want to look at Anna. The wolves that have defected, are they all young?
They are various ages. Some of them are strong knights who have seen several wars. Some of them are young but tested. They cut their teeth on the battles of the Dragon War, and now they are prepared to defend the woods.
It seems like House Wolf is being tested. This looks like a territorial strife, and they seem not to be looking towards logic. I seek to understand them.
The Grand Josiah speaks up, and it kind of turns their eyes to Chev Orphelia, and they sort of explain. They say, oftentimes the most patient tongue is the wisest tongue. What say you, young knight?
I am afraid that we do not yet have the information we need to make a decision that will lead to anything other than more war. We need to negotiate. We need to know more.
Laird, who will be your chief negotiator? Will it be you yourself or one of these knights? Or is perhaps there's someone else among them that could be trusted? Maybe a neutral party?
At this point, who is neutral in this room?
I know.
That's when Beatrice and Epictetus, they are, as well as Dionysidoros, are kind of viewed as neutral parties.
To be slain.
If we're going to die, we might as well be slain. And the Grand Josiah also says that they could perhaps be viewed as a neutral party, as they their allegiances to their faith and to the old ways. What's territory but fictional lines on a map, he says. And he goes, no offense, your lord, laird.
The Golden Woods are tied closely to the old ways. I would suggest this Grand Josiah trek along. I would feel it is part of my duty to also be included.
I will send the neutral parties, and if you wish, Sir Cataline, you may enter with the negotiations. I wish to go as well, for I was there in the training and wished to have a peaceful end to all of this. I may be a steward on this throne, but I am still a knight of the church and seek peace and honor above all else.
All right. So let's talk about goals. So do you want the neutral party to invite them to a place to meet with you? Where are you going to try to gather the wolves? So there's a couple things you have to do. First, you have to contact them. So you have to decide how you're going to do that. Then you need to determine an appropriate meeting place, which means there's a bunch of different ways you could do that. You could bring them all up to Norfell and execute the treasoners if you wanted to, or you could bring them to the Middle Country and they could be on the estates of the dragon family, and you could entertain them. You could invite them directly to Capital and have them stand before your people and show penitence. It's entirely up to you. So you have to first invite them, then determine a location to invite them, and then you're going to have to convince them, and there might be a couple different ways to do that. So let's start with the invitation. How does it come?
Donald.
Who looks up this whole time he was finishing a bowl of soup. I've done it before. You want me to talk to the wolves? I'm a hit with them. I think. Hi, sir. Cataline kind of wipes the sweat from his brow. He looks like he might have been drinking for 4 hours, but there's no alcohol there. And he's just one of those guys. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Flushed over.
I vote for the neutral party.
Okay.
That's my fault.
So the neutral party would consist of Beatrice, Epictetus, and Dionysidoros. And so what we'll do as far as the role, they are all allied with Shev and Timony. So I'll allow Antimony to make the role and talk about any attractive qualities that might come into play, any tags that might be exhausted. And this is a check 10. If you fail by more than 3, bad things happen to the party. If you fail between 1 to 3, it's not perfect, but it doesn't mean it's a complete failure.
Yeah. Trying to decide if Antimony would try to go with them.
You can decide to do that. No one can stop you, unless you're put in prison by Laird Daniel. I want to get like a King Henry VIII outfit for Pro to wear. The hat
and Timmy would go with them. Where is the Laird want this meeting to take place? Because that needs to be part of the offer.
So I think when you'd have to not tell them that you would go in, because they would demand that you not. So I think having a secret.
Yeah, no. Timmy is not telling you they're going.
Donald asks for you. So where do you want them to meet at? I'll make sure they get it. Please write it down. I'm not good.
I like to think that there is like some ancestral, like some old kind of like kind of like a war battlefield where like something was made, like where all men can go, all men and women can go for like a neutral negotiation.
I was thinking East Shore.
There's
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I think on the borders of the Marmor and the Goldenwood is a place where there would be a hill rising up into from the swamp up to the woods. That is a desolate hill where some sort of great battle once had.
Yes, and at the top of the hill, there is a green table. It used to be brass, but it just turned green over time. And it is a table where the negotiation of the first war that was fought on these lands, the first war for freedom, back before the days of the Old Kingdom. It is an ancient table, and that is known as a special negotiation site and a landmark. So that is where it is to take place.
So Beatrice and Epictetus and Dionysidoros would go, and Timony would meet up with them on the road and travel with them, just in a black cloak, as they do. And so at the border there of the Goldenwood, Timony would reveal themselves to the wolves, or to the wood, to House Wood now. And I would exhaust my tag, Wolf Friend.
Ooh.
Because I led the wolves in the war in the Marmors. I kept any of them from being slain, and the wolves, whether they have divided themselves into House Wood or House Wolf, they know Antimony to be an ally to them.
So I have So I have a question for the players, and this I'm curious in your thoughts. This would be kind of a mechanical change to the game as I'm thinking it. As we have sort of these sort of social actions, I'm thinking I've been considering maybe sometimes the use of the tag, instead of adding between 1, 2, or 3 to the total as it's relevant, sometimes just having the difficulty. So instead of this being a difficulty of 11, which it would be, we just make it like, say, a 5 because of the wolf friend tag. What do you think about that? It kind of, I think your fictional positioning is a little different because Antimony's name is known. Their name is known amongst the wolves.
Yeah, I'd say a tag with that power and that aptitude in that scenario would justify having.
Yeah, I don't think it would work for every tag that could necessarily apply to a given situation, but for ones like this, where it's like, this is exactly the thing that you need in this situation, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have the difficulty right at the start from 10 to 5.
Okay.
So they're kind of standoffish, but they kind of explain, the dragons and the wanderer come. They know them.
And with the aid of the other neutral parties as modifiers to this, Antimony will greet them as friends and say that I bring a message and a message of peace and hope, of potential discussions from the steward and from the crown, and they wish to meet and speak with House Wood.
You have been brought before a very intimidating individual. Their eyes glow with a fire. This individual is the Suzerain Matthias. Suzerain being a neutral term for sort of it's a respectful title for an individual. So the Suzerain Matthias looks Antimony over. And I need you to make a check. So roll a 10-sided die. You're going to have, it's a difficulty of 5, but you get +3 because of your neutral negotiators. So you just need to get a 2 or higher.
Okay.
You could also spend cerebration points and have it automatic.
Yeah, I'm disciplined as well. I don't know if that applies.
Yes, it will in this situation because they're wolves.
Okay, so I'll just. I got 8 on the die, so 12.
You're good. Yeah. We will meet at the ancient table. And we will see and speak with this so-called laird. We would very much prefer to speak with the true king as well. Can you ensure that Julian will be there?
I can attempt to do so. I cannot make any promises. But
I understand. Promises cannot be made. However, kings treat with kings, and the laird is no king.
indeed, you will.
You are just
I will endeavor to make sure you receive all the respect that your title demands.
They nod, and the suzerain dismisses you with, it's a very cordial dismissal. You can tell that though Matthias be stone-faced, they were most definitely impressed. One, that you gained admittance. Two, that you traveled with distinguished company. And then 3, that you knew how to engage them. 4, your head still is attached to your shoulders. So it is not long after the rest of you, Antimony returns to capital and informs you.
I would not.
Okay,
I would not return to capital. I would send back the others, the other 3, the neutral party, to report to to the laird, to Sir Daniel and the others, and I would depart with them as we approach to head to Intramuros to petition Joylin about being present as well.
Okay. Right. So let's talk about that. So to get Julian there and to petition them, you would meet with Sarah Helena, who is a protector of Jolly, and she will say that she submits to the will of Sarah Cataline, so you will have to convince Cataline. And she's willing to talk to her for you. But it's...
I can speak with Sarah Cataline.
Sir Helena almost seems like she snaps, like, dang it, that was my chance. And acknowledges Antimony. And she offers to accompany you as well with Jolly, if needed.
Okay. Yeah. We can go meet with Sir Kathleen in private.
So, Sir Cataline, the scheme is presented to you. Do you intend to resist it, or do you intend to go along with it? You have creative control.
It's been made clear to me that they wish to see the king in title, and that title is important to them.
It is.
You know very well, being a wolf, that, and you are familiar with Matthias. Matthias is your older brother. Matthias fought as a knight for many years, and then was retired after suffering a grave wound. However, they affixed where their hand used to be a long blade, almost like a great sword, and they are very proficient with it.
That bastard. Okay.
No, your parents were very clearly married. He knew.
One big, happy, wolfy family. Indeed, you should pull the Jolin from his studies. We have the perfect one here to protect him, so hopefully protect him from his mouth. Do you think this is a good idea, Chev and Timony?
I do. I know tempers got heated in our previous discussion, but I was trying to impress to the laird, and hopefully to you, and I will bow my head to the king, that this is not an easy fix, and it's not a fix that is going to be immediate. And if the land royal really wants to seek peace, what better way to seek peace than to have an ally on the throne?
Or we wipe out under nonsense. I mean, I was under the impression that we gave that piece of land, that was the safest answer, because we had all agreed. But now I see these hot-headed wolves feeling unjust.
Well, I can understand their feeling. This was your land. It was not given with your permission. It was not discussed with you that this foreign republic was going to come in and use your land. They are rightfully angry. The tyranny of the faith decided what was best for them without discussing it with them. The golden wood was taken from them. It was theirs to begin with. They are rightfully angry, but I think you can abate some of their anger, and you can guide them to a more peaceful place.
This is all a conflict of them and us, and not seeing eye to eye. I had faith that Sir Daniel was making the right choice, not for themselves, not for the church, but for us, Goldenwood included. We're a house of wolves, of armies. Why should we need such a large homeland to come home to? We travel everywhere.
But that is why it is so important to have a homeland to come home to. Everyone must have some place to call their own.
The land. I start to understand what Grand Josiah means. It's just lines. Names. What does it matter?
It may not matter to you, but to those that work it, those that live there, those that have put their blood and sweat and tears and years into it. We have the privilege and the distance of position, of our training, of our duty to the crown. We have the ability to travel and lay our ground and our homes wherever we wish. But your people, not everyone does. And we must protect their rights, their homes.
I understand. You speak with much conviction. I see I have things to reconsider, and clearly it is time for me to travel back and speak to these individuals.
Indeed.
So the camera cuts on that scene. And the next scene is actually a scene with Chev Orphelia and Laird Daniel. You are both alone in the throne room together. You have been waiting to hear back from the neutral party. You haven't seen them yet. They were supposed to arrive 2 days ago. You had sent Chev Orphelia out to find them. There's no sign of those three right now. And Orphelia has reported this back to Sir Daniel. So begin to play the scene, and then there's going to be a shift that happens at a certain point.
I have a bad feeling about this. If we do not hear back soon, what's our next course of action?
I was hoping that the negotiations with the neutral parties would go well. But it is what they say. I'm sure Aunt Tiffany would like to lecture me and always say, hope for peace, but always prepare for war. So I have been thinking that. But I do not want it. I would. What would you do if you were in my situation?
Your situation is not one that I envy. Every time I look at you, it looks like the crown gets a little heavier. But, well, for now, I would wait and have faith for just a few more days. But after, I'm afraid sometimes destiny, or sometimes there are forces that force our hand.
Indeed. Why can't they just understand that allowing simple login rights does not mean that they will lose their land? It's sometimes good to allow...
You can understand fear, yes?
Yes. Of course.
That's all it is. But the fear of hundreds of people, the fear of losing all that they have and facing the unknown, that's a force that we should not underestimate.
Something is amiss. I need one of you to decide who's going to make a check to see if you can discern exactly what it is. And I will tell you this, whoever makes the check, just know the consequence is going to be on the opposite. So if Sir Daniel makes the attack, it's going to impact Orphelia. If Orphelia makes the check, it'll impact Danielle.
Oh, cool.
Give me the drama.
You want
Orphelia roll.
Like, no tags or anything, just roll.
You can use tags, but you got to tell me what you're using and how, and if you have any qualities that you think help you determine what's amiss.
Cool. I'm gonna use some 2 points of cerebration on this. Which I don't have a whole lot of. Would this be an appropriate time to use the marked one? Or
Yes.
since it's impacting Danielle. Okay.
No, it very much in using the marked one's gonna cut the difficulty a little bit, because the one that has marked you is firing the bolt at Danielle's heart.
Oh, excellent. So that's
He did
cool.
set her on fire.
Okay, well then. Okay, so what does that do, the marked one in this case?
It's going to give you 3. It's going to give you +3.
+3? Okay. Okay, then that is a 10.
Yeah, +5 total. Yeah.
Yep.
And what did you roll?
I rolled a 5, so 10.
Okay. The difficulty was 12. So it's not going to kill him. A bolt shoots from a balcony above, a high place. You see it. You leapt to get in the way. You managed to push Danielle that it did not pierce their heart. It has barely missed, and the bolt sticks out of him. As he falls, or they fall, pardon me, unconscious to the ground, bleeding in a pool of their own blood. And with that, Alicinda, the Raven's Blade, descends and engages you in one-on-one combat. Draw your sword.
Mother.
Right.
You get the first attack.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to. So Orphelia kind of fell with Sir Daniel to the ground, making kind of gently lowering to the ground, and then spins around, whips out her blade, and I just meets sword to sword with her assailant, and I am going to use... Oh, cool, right, I totally lost all of my Valor last session, so I definitely don't have any of that anymore.
No, you have all... It all comes back every session.
Oh, it does come back? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, then that should be back at much better.
Was that 5, wasn't
it? Or, yes, it was either 5 or 7. I don't remember. It's probably at 5. I'll put it at 5. Okay, in that case, I'm going to use 2 points of Valor and 2 points of Dashing. And
do you have any attractive qualities that might help?
Oh, yeah. Definitely Resourceful, I think, would probably allow me to spin fast enough to get back on my feet in time. And I don't really think any of my other tags really apply here. So yeah, okay, with a +4 I'm gonna roll. Wait, no, I can't make this roll with a +4, can I? Unless I nail.
You're unshakable.
I am unshakable.
Sure.
I guess that could count. Okay, yeah, let's count an unshakable in there also. Okay, so that's 3 plus whatever unshakable counts for.
Unshakable will count for 2 in this regard.
It you had you said you used 2 of your Valor and 2 of your Dashing. That's 4, and then full or Resourceful is another 1. That's 5.
You can only choose for this instance 1 pool to draw upon.
Gotcha.
So either your Valor or your Dashing, but you can use up to 3 points.
Okay, then I'll use 3 points of Dashing and my Resourceful tag to bring that to 4, and then whatever unshakable counts for.
It'll count for 2 in this situation.
Okay, so +6. Oh yeah, that's an 8 on the die, so 14.
Okay, so you strike Allison a fierce blow. You are superior to her by way of the sword. Surprisingly, she came at you in a manner very similar to your old mentor, Chev Beatrice, to the point where it felt like a very elementary attack on her regard. And you're like, well, that's the oldest trick in the book. You know, and Allison has taken a fierce blow and is trying to decide here, finish the deed and potentially die by Chev Orphelia's blade, or retreat. She is going to attempt to flee. Do you pursue, or do you allow Laird Danielle to bleed out?
What is Sir Danielle doing right now? Other than
Bleeding. Or they're bleeding.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
No one would know.
If I was playing a different character, believe me. But no, or Ophelia just shouts out, "Wait!" And then makes as if she's going to take off, and then turns around, sees poor Sir Daniel bleeding out, and returns to their side.
They're going to need serious medical attention.
Okay.
With that, next session will begin in the middle of things as the other knights arrive, and we can discuss what has occurred and how what will become of Sir Danielle. However, your pools will reset for next week, and you are still going to get narrative tags. We're going to try something different this week, where I would like you to go around and give tags to each other based on what you observed through play, instead of coming from me. So why don't we start with Pro Restarter? Go ahead and assign a tag as a viewer, a player, to one of the other characters.
I want to give one to Intimidate. And I think I want to. Man, I want to give one like Mastermind or Master Spy, just for the way that they seem to be going, always in the shadows, always having their hands in the pies. So something like that.
What was the synonym?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something like that. Like, I don't know, like key, like true strategist.
Yes. The prime mover, the devicer, the engineer. Yeah. So let's give you essentially we've given you architect before. Let's do with brilliant strategist. So the strategy will be a brilliant strategy. It will come from a place of brilliance.
Okay.
And in turn, Poisel, as a player, I'd like you to assign a tag to one of the other players.
I think after my conversation with Sir Cataline, I think I want to give Sir Cataline a tag. I'm trying to think of what exactly. I'm going to look at your tags really quick. What exactly I want it to be, though. You're already viewed as the leader of the pack by the other wolves.
Matinee idol.
I'm really bad at these. Trying to come up with it's
tough to improv.
It's really hard.
I think Sir Kathleen is growing into kind of like the matron almost, like the head wolf, the
matriarch.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I'm the pater familias. Dagnabbit. No.
That's how I view like how she's being seen by the other wolves, how she's being approached, and kind of her growing responsibility to the family, to the house, is being kind of groomed and led as the head of the house in the future.
I'm down with it. Thank you.
All right. And Sir Cataline, I'd like you to assign a tag to either Sir Danielle or Chev Orphelia.
I think it has to be Chev Orphelia because Chev Orphelia can't decide much herself.
Yeah, I was just wondering if either you or I were going to assign something to Triest. If they're able to join next season or next episode.
I'll assign one.
Okay, cool.
They look really hot when they dance, apparently.
I know. Yeah, presence of poignancy. For Orphelia, what can we say about sweet Orphelia? I think, let's see, what do we still have that you haven't used? Okay. Wounded in the company of friends. Poor sweet bee. Oh man, Chev Orphelia, to you I bequeath the tag of what's the word I'm looking for? So it's beyond bravery, and it was almost divine intervention the way you shoved our beloved Danielle aside.
I was going to call her Raven Slayer. No.
Oh, that's a fun one.
It hits hard, yeah. But
especially when
I guess you could make it applicable.
Raven comes in and you slay that one. No.
Oh my goodness! No, please don't. Yeah.
That could be fun to play with. Indeed.
Yeah, we could do that. That's cool. I dig it. No, Joe's still in chat too.
Especially if Antimony is also without a house now too.
Yeah.
This will be totally fine, I'm sure.
Everything fine.
That's so much
that
pain.
Raven?
Yeah, a wing clipper. Ooh. Gotta go with that.
Oh, I love it.
Excellent. So yeah, take wing clipper. Snip it a snip. It works on eagles and ravens with the same efficacy.
Great. Does it work on dragons also?
It might. Thank you for the bits, Phantom Roll Booth. The Aqua Dumbo of Night.
No.
And then, Orphelia, if you would assign a tag to our beloved Laird.
Yes, our poor Laird. Very tired Laird. I think I'm going to assign them the tag. Let me first make sure this isn't already a thing, which I probably should have done earlier. Nope, totally already a thing. Darn. Well, I was going to assign them the tag Peacemaker, but they definitely already have that. So, let's see. Yeah, doing these on the fly is rough.
Thank you, Marcy, for this. And now you see the mental strain that I go through. Here's one.
Yeah.
What is Sarah Danielle's highest narrative pool right now?
Passion.
It is that tied with Passion and Glory. Passion and Crown are tied right now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of so then leaning it, so and how in what, so I would take something that evokes passion and then tie it to an action verb. So it might be bold leader, or it might be truth speaker, or unifier. I might throw something. I try to bring it from a place of that passionate embodiment of the night, and then try to bring it and tie it together with a verb. And then bestow it as a title, where it's and the reason for that is if everyone views Sarah Danielle as this passionate knight, we might tie it to something that they can do as well.
I like Poisel's suggestion here of Sovereign Will.
Ooh,
that's a fun one.
But it's not me that has to do the thinking.
Right, yeah. That's the problem.
No, that's totally good too.
We'll get there.
Help each other out.
We'll get on Grant's level one day.
Everyone's past my level. I'm half brain dead. Yeah, so Sovereign Will is added. So now we go around. We won't so much have a recap, but we'll talk about how we enjoyed the session and what we hope to accomplish next week, because we are still in the midst of war, the Goldenwood War, and we are in the midst of an assassination attempt. We'd hate to think of what would happen if Jolly was in the room with Alicinda nearby, and I hope that they don't encounter each other on the way. So let's go around and let everyone know where we can find ourselves online, how we enjoyed today's session, and this is the order we'll go in. Jess, Poisel, Etreffery, Pro Restarter. So Jess, Poisel, and Josh. So Take it away, Burst of Hope.
Yes. Today was great. It was spicy. Woo! I love all of you guys as players. So thanks for being able to take it to the drama. But we love each other. Nothing but love at the end of the day. That was good. You can find me at Burst of Hope on Twitter, where I spew lots of nonsense and try to give voices to people that might be marginalized. That's a thing. That's important. And this season, I'm just trying to play as many games with as many people as possible. Get a lot of different mindsets, my ideas going. So thank you for having me here. Yay!
Yes.
All right.
I am. Oh, yeah. I'm
No, you good.
You can find me on Twitter at @Poisel, where I talk about politics and gaming and queer things and all sorts of stuff. You can see me on forthcoming soon, not this week, but the week after, on Wednesday nights on Scabby Rooster, playing some Starfinder and Drift Runners. Find me on Sundays on Q Times playing the Uncommon Trust Presents, where we do a bunch of like 3-shot games. We're not playing this week, and then you can see me occasionally on some other things. Follow me on Twitch. I also play games just on Twitch, twitch.tv/Poisel, and yeah.
And M.
Okay, hi again. I'm M at Ishafree on Twitter, where you can find me mostly just yelling about various RPG stuff, fictional characters, magical girl stuff, just all kinds of good nerdy stuff. Also, women in suits occasionally, apparently. And yeah, that's mostly me. I'll occasionally scattered across the internet on various RPG streams and stuff. But yeah, that's about me.
Awesome. Yeah, I loved today's game. We're at that point where everyone has gotten comfortable with each other, so we're just giving each other RP shit and like drama. It's great. I love it. I want more of it. Give me all that spicy drama. I am ProRestarter. Catch me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, all under the same name. I do a slew of stuff. Check my pin tweet. Thank you for having me.
And I am Grant Ellis. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games. Currently, I'm one of the designers on a game that's being kickstarted right now called Reach of Titan, which we may be playing here on Encounter Roleplay sometime soon. We're in the process of coordinating that. I'm going to post a link to you guys. Check it out. If we get to $32,500, then I get to design a Titan. But we're well on our way there. We reached our initial funding of $10,000 within the first 12 hours of the Kickstarter launch. I'm also an author on 2 other books that are coming out soon, the TPK Bestiary and the TPK Handbook Volume 2, amongst many other titles that will be published throughout the year. I think there's about 6 books. Those are the 3 that I'm allowed to talk about right now. Again, this game is homebrewed, home designed. We've built it from the ground up. That's why you might see while we're playing, we're tweaking and we're coming up with things along the way. But I'm a firm believer in that it's okay to play your designs in front of an audience, and it's okay to play it with friends and get feedback, as well as hand it off to other groups, watch how they play it. And I really appreciate all these players coming out and really putting, filling our lives with drama, nights, and heroic tales. So you can follow me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant, on Twitch at GrantREllis. I'm the producer for WebDM's Twitch channel, and also a recurring guest here on Encounter Roleplay. So thank you all so much, and have an excellent evening. Goodbye.
Bye.